Kentucky. This is WYNT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Even as more states move to reopen beaches and businesses, coronavirus cases are rising in about half the country. More than 84,000 people have died from COVID-19 in the U.S., and confirmed cases across the nation are approaching 1.4 million. CBS's Michael George reports from New York.
Teresa Francisco retired in January after 38 years as a nurse at Mount Sinai Hospital's cardiac unit. But in late March, she became a COVID-19 patient at the New York-based hospital. After more than a month close to the brink, Francisco's story became one of survival.
I'm more than excited to go home and sleep in my bed.
And in a new and growing concern, at least 180 children in the U.S. have been hospitalized with a mysterious illness, pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome.
I need you to be vigilant to protect your children, all our children.
At least 17 states and the District of Columbia are now reporting cases of the syndrome, which is similar to Kawasaki disease and believed to be related to COVID-19. Symptoms include fever, rash, abdominal pain, and vomiting. As the coronavirus continues its path of destruction, social distancing rules are being eased in most states.
It's better to do it safe than, have to put restrictions back on.
Los Angeles County beaches reopened Wednesday with restrictions, including no sunbathing. Iowa's governor is allowing gyms, restaurants, salons, and barbershops to reopen statewide Friday with limited capacity.
I have full confidence in Iowans, and I have full confidence in our businesses to do the right thing.
Late Wednesday, Wisconsin State Supreme Court struck down the governor's stay-at-home order. But Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker warned against moving too quickly.
This pandemic is not over.
More than 3,700 have died in Illinois, with the majority of coronavirus cases in and around Chicago. Michael George, CBS News.
CBS News has learned the U.S. Centers for Disease Control is expected to issue an alert to doctors nationwide about the inflammatory syndrome, which has killed 3 children. Here in Kentucky, one child believed to have the syndrome was just taken off a ventilator and fortunately is doing better. Now, as of today, more than 7,000 Kentuckians have contracted the coronavirus. Governor Andy Beshear confirmed 227 new COVID-19 cases during his news conference today. That brings Kentucky's total to 7,080. 5 new deaths were reported, bringing the death toll to 326. 2,649 people have recovered from the virus. More than 117,000 tests have been administered. Many of those new cases announced today came from just one county. Health officials in Warren County, that's where Bowling Green is, confirmed 72 cases. 14 of those were in children. That county now has more than 700 cases, making it the state's second largest hotspot behind Louisville. Kentucky is receiving more money to increase coronavirus testing. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced today Kentucky is getting more than $97 million. That money was made available by Senator McConnell's Paycheck Protection Program and Health Care Enhancement Act. Senator McConnell says expanding testing is one of the best ways to slow the spread of COVID-19 and keep Kentucky families safe. Many local restaurants are preparing to reopen right before Memorial Day weekend. Here are the biggest changes for in-person dining customers. If you do not live in the same house, you will not be permitted to sit at the same table. Drink stations, buffets, and children's play areas are all out, a no-go. Also, restaurants can only use disposable utensils and menus. Again, these are only some of the changes for restaurants coming up. Retail stores in Kentucky can reopen 1 week from today with restrictions, of course, and some of your favorites may be in jeopardy. We spoke with former economics professor Richard Crow on how these stores might have to find another way to sustain themselves. Meanwhile, in Hazard, a fairly new boutique, Oak and Willow, made the addition of an online store, and Crow says because of that, local businesses like Oak and Willow may be able to survive, but it could be a different story for chain retail stores.
Retail brick and mortar stores were already in trouble because of the internet business, buying online, buying on Amazon and all that. There's a lot of retail stores that are not going to reopen because this is kind of the end of the line for them.
Stage Stores, the company that owns Gordman's and others, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy earlier this week. If they cannot find another buyer, more than 700 retail stores are expected to close by June. As Kentucky legislators worry about their budget deficit caused by the pandemic, local government officials have problems of their own. As jails release inmates within the governor's restrictions, they are also restricted in moving inmates from county to county. In Leslie County, jailer Danny Clark is short 140 inmates for things such as work release, creating a $140,000 per month deficit in his budget.
I now only have 10 male inmates and 30 female inmates that are legal, that you can let go outside the facility without handcuffs and shackles to work.
Clark hopes work release can pick back up soon and that he will get more inmates in.
Well, we saw that rain return once again today, but heading into tomorrow, we're going to say goodbye to the rain, hello to the sunshine, and to those warmer temperatures. First, we'll go ahead and take you up to a few of those cameras. As we look along US 119, US 23, you can kind of see those dreary conditions. At least they've been drying out, though. Haven't seen a lot of rain over there. And as we look along Interstate 64 in Moorhead, looking a little bit more gloomy. You can see that rain on the camera earlier this afternoon, but overall, it's just been kind of a dreary and chilly day. Reached a high of 52, and we've been into the lower 50s to 60s throughout the past several days. We have not been near average since about the 4th of May. You can see right there 74 degrees, but we are looking at a pretty nice warm up as we head into tomorrow, into the weekend, and even into next week. I'll have those details coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. As the state begins to reopen, the Kentucky Department of Education is looking forward to the upcoming school year. This time of year, school boards are working on the calendar for the year ahead, but now schools are really unsure how to plan. WYMT's Emily Bennett talked to the Floyd County School Superintendent about how they are trying to prepare for the fall.
As preparation for next school year begins, educators are left with more questions than answers.
We're ready to start planning, but we don't know what to plan for yet.
The Kentucky Department of Education is asking superintendents to prepare 3 calendars, one to begin in July, one as usual, and another after Labor Day.
My board probably, they're definitely not in favor of the July start date. So it would have to be one of those issues where we were kind of held to the fire to do.
While this waiting game continues, Floyd County School Superintendent Danny Adkins says they are focusing on upping their online learning.
So every student in Floyd County from the 5th grade to the 12th grade, they have their own device provided by the district. So we're looking at going ahead and getting that from kindergarten on up.
Also looking at how to social distance, considering some students come to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and others Tuesday and Thursday.
Just different things that we're having to approach, a lot of what ifs.
Adkins wants to make the schools as clean as possible, so he says they are purchasing equipment to mass sanitize.
Such as sprayers that would be suitable to sanitize football stadiums or gymnasiums, even down to the smallest that we could do single classrooms and even offices with as well.
Putting an emphasis on keeping their kids safe. In Floyd County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
This week, schools can also apply for funds from the CARES Act and the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund. This funding will go towards online learning, food and delivery, sanitation costs, and other budget needs. The University of Kentucky is laying out 4 different plans on reopening this fall. That includes a normal in-person start, delayed start, hybrid learning, and entirely online classes. A delayed start would have students move in after Labor Day and would eliminate fall break. That would also include 3 weeks of online learning. A hybrid semester would start in August, and in-person instruction would end with Thanksgiving break. UK is looking for feedback on each plan. By June, they expect to have a final campus restart plan. The class of 2020 has missed out on a lot of things, so schools across the region are working to help them feel special. In Johnson County, that meant putting aside a school rivalry to celebrate the senior class. Bows are tied around the city as part of an effort between Paintsville High School, Johnson Central, and the Paintsville Main Street program. The black and blue bows represent the unity of the schools as they honor the class. With no graduation ceremony, Morgan County is finding ways to celebrate the class of 2020. Police cruisers and fire trucks escorted seniors through West Liberty. Earlier today, each one picked up their diplomas outside the high school. No one got out of their cars, but some did celebrate through the sunroof. Morgan County's principal says they are doing their best to show how proud they are of the class of 2020. An exciting day at the Wolfe County Health and Rehabilitation Center, as family, friends, and community members drove by the center to see their loved ones from a distance for the first time in weeks. The residents lined the sidewalks, holding signs and balloons to also show their love. Amy Prater, administrator at the center, says the parade was something the residents had looked forward to.
They were very excited. I don't think any of them thought it was going to be raining and cold, but they still wanted to do this. They wanted to see their loved ones. It's kind of like a party for them.
Officials with the Rehabilitation Center say they continue to follow social distancing guidelines and continue to stay healthy at home to get through the pandemic. One man in Somerset decided to play God Bless America on his trumpet one March evening on his porch, and now it's a daily routine. Jeff Snyder lives in the Eagles Nest subdivision of Pulaski County. He plays tunes nearly every night at 7 p.m. sharp. But he's not alone anymore. Snyder is joined by another performer he says is talented well beyond her years. Somerset High School sophomore Lucy MacArthur plays violin frequently with Jeff.
It doesn't really matter how many people there are. If you just are able to get to that one person by your music, then that's all that I want to do. I mean, that's the main purpose.
Lucy says she wants to pursue a career in music and maybe one day play at Carnegie Hall. You should check out that full story, by the way, on WYMT.com. Coming up here on Mountain News at 11, the winner of the 40th season of Survivor was just announced. Find out who it was, and we'll also hear from Whitley County's Nick Wilson. And the legal drama around a former key advisor to President Trump continues. Hear from a Kentucky senator accusing the Obama administration of misconduct.
Warmer temperatures return tomorrow, but how long will they stick around? I'll have that answer coming up.